The game plays right here.
Are you ready for some football? Yeah!
Your sports leader, WOHS Shelby, WLON Lincoln, and WCSL Cherryville Gastonia.
Make sure I'm hidden. And good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for tuning in to today's episode of Shock Joxx Sports Broadcast here on KTC Broadcasting YouTube channel. Actually, Shock Joxx YouTube. I'm sorry, but it is brought to you by KTC Broadcasting here live from a rainy Cherryville, North Carolina. It's very rainy today, very stormy, very nasty, but we're all doing good here. Baseball. MLB is supposed to start up tomorrow. Supposed to be opening day tomorrow around the nation. Some of the Southeast teams, hopefully this weather goes away today and they're able to get their games in tomorrow. We've got pro days all over. Some of the SEC schools are doing pro days. I have one pulled up right now on my phone. I've just been watching and listening to while I was on my way up here. NBA action is still in full swing. We are now down to the Final Four. It is set in both men and women's college basketball.
Almost happened exactly like I predicted.
Almost happened exactly like everybody probably predicted, except for one team just kind of came up out of the blue.
I picked a play-in game team to make it to the Final Four.
You picked two.
No, Winthrop wasn't a play-in game.
Oh, they weren't?
No. I picked a play-in game. Just chose the wrong
one.
Well, that was fixed. We talked about how ESPN needed that big time Gonzaga Norfolk State matchup to sell ads to. So
oh yeah.
What's real quick about the Norfolk State thing? I've got pictures down the hall, and I found them. I need to pull them up for you.
Mm-hmm.
North Carolina Pro-Am days. I've told you about those, and seeing John Wall down there.
Yeah.
One thing that stood out, and I don't know the kid's name. I never will. There's no way to find out. But there was a kid that dominated one of those days that I went down there, and he went to Norfolk State.
No.
Can't remember any.
Can't remember his name for the life of him.
He was driving to the basket. I tell you who he reminded me of is almost like De'Aaron Fox, to where he was faster, skinnier than everybody.
Right.
He was driving to the basket and throwing it off the backboard in traffic and dunking it. And I'm sitting there looking at the roster. It's Norfolk State, and he's out here just dunking on everybody.
Well, basketball, we know this because we see players that go to the NBA. They go to these smaller schools. It's easier for you almost to still make it. If you've got game, it just doesn't matter. You got to remember, it's not like football teams that have 25, 30 scholarships that they can give out, maybe more on a football team. I don't know exactly. I don't know how many are on a college basketball team. So you will have guys that probably get away from some of these bigger universities. Like, how did Ja Morant not get noticed and ended up at Murray State? The dude's a baller. Yeah. He played on the same AAU team as Zion. Like, they're both from South Carolina. How did he end up at Murray State and Zion ended up at Duke? Now, Zion, of course, is fantastic, but But you just notice it's just funny how sometimes you see these teams, the how do we call them, the mid-major teams that make it to the playoffs, or not the playoffs, the big dance, March Madness, and you're like, well, how do they get there? Sometimes they just have that one dude that absolutely balls out, and you watch him, and they're like, man, how did someone miss out on him? No, the NCAA leading scorer this year in points per game played for Oral Roberts. He was averaging almost 25. He's not one of these guys that's playing at one of these big schools. One of the ones that we're talking about could be the number 1 overall pick, like Cade Cunningham and Jalen Suggs. No, he played at Oral Roberts, but he still went out there, balled, made it to at least the Sweet 16, and then obviously ran into stiffer competition as a whole, but was still able to knock off Ohio State and Florida. So they don't always end up at the big universities.
The best basketball players in the country right now, from what I'm told, look like the cast of Boogie Nights, right?
Oh. Talk about the Zags.
Yeah. Aren't they the best team?
Listen.
They look like they walked out of the movie Boogie Nights.
I'm telling you.
Have you seen Boogie Nights?
No.
Have
you seen Boogie Nights?
Yeah, I've seen Boogie Nights.
I was wondering where we were about to get here on that.
Listen, those boys are good. Did you watch their game last night?
Talking about Mark Wahlberg?
Yes, Mark Wahlberg's good too. I understand that. No, I'm talking about
Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch?
I'm talking about Gonzaga. I'm talking about the Bulldogs.
That was his band.
Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch.
No.
Did you know he was in the Funky Bunch? You know he was the Funky Bunch? Did you know he was a rapper?
No.
Mark Wahlberg?
Did you know he was also a model?
Mm-hmm. He was a
I
Calvin
knew
Klein
that,
model.
but I didn't know he was a rapper.
Mm-hmm.
He was a... Yeah.
He's been a lot of things. He's been a lot of things. A Wahlberg to begin with.
Because they used to joke his underwear was in a Funky Bunch.
But Gonzaga is good.
I'm not making it up. I'm just telling you.
I watched that game yesterday against USC. I thought, you know what? Maybe USC will come in here and keep them competitive. Evan Mobley for USC is supposed to be a lottery pick. I'm thinking, okay, I'm getting ready to watch 2 NBA possible lottery picks go at each other, and Jalen Suggs for Gonzaga and Evan Mobley for USC. And Gonzaga as a whole was just better. Good God, the best player on the floor was, I think they pronounced his last name Timmy?
Yeah.
Timme?
I heard it on the radio. That's
Ooh.
how they were saying it on the radio. Was
Man, he had, I think starting off the game, he had 11 of their 14 points.
Yeah.
And he was just on fire. They couldn't do anything with him. Then Jalen Suggs, I know a lot of people are talking about Cade Cunningham. I like Cade Cunningham's game to a degree. I think it's very NBA ready. I know Terry sits here on Saturday mornings and doesn't like it at all. He thinks Cade Cunningham's kind of a ball hog. But, I mean, when you're the best player on your team at the college level, they probably draw up a few more plays for the ball to be directly in your hands.
Mm-hmm.
But when I watch Jalen Suggs, God, I mean, his game is smooth. Pass the ball, like his dimes were just as impressive to me as his scoring. And I saw him catch and step into a 3-point shot. I said, that's a beautiful shot. His mechanics, everything was pretty. So they might talk about Cade Cunningham going 1. I could probably argue I would take Jalen Suggs.
Where's
at
Cunningham
1.
go? Or is that
He
a
was
D-League?
he's at Oklahoma State.
And don't forget, there's 5 guys in the D League
Oh,
that
we don't
projecting
even
the top.
I know,
10.
and we don't even get to see him.
So until the draft comes out, mocks come out, I wouldn't have a clue what to say about any of that.
Like I'm doing right now. Only thing I'm doing, the only reason I have this pro day pulled up is I want to see how Kyle Trask get throwing the ball. They don't really talk about him, but that's how I would have to do with these G League kids. Is I would have to go on here. I'd have to go to YouTube, type in such and such G League, and just see if I can find highlights and just go off that, because I'm not able to watch them play a full game because G League games are not just on television.
Right.
I think they're on the NBA channel, NBA whatever their channel is called, and then that's a pay to watch that. So there's a paywall there, so I don't just get to watch them. And besides, I'm not just watching Oklahoma City's G League team play the Greensboro Swarm or whatever it is.
Hunter, you know what I've never seen is anyone on TV argue for the G League to be paid the same as the NBA players.
Yeah, well, I will say this. Some of those G League players, though, that opted out from going to college and went straight G League are making a couple $100,000.
Yeah, but you know what I'm saying?
Oh,
Like,
no, I know
nobody's
what you
going, hey, they're doing the same job.
Right.
They're all men. Shouldn't they all be paid equal?
Well, I'm not driving up to Greensboro to watch a G League game if I could go to Charlotte and watch
or
an NBA
a girls'
game.
basketball game.
Right.
We talked about that the other day, and there was a Yet last night, Mariah Taylor, did you see her tweet controversy? ESPN.
Isn't that Maria Taylor?
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
ESPN put out that a picture, I think it was a tweet, is all it was, and it had the Baylor, a basketball player for Baylor shooting the basketball.
Mm-hmm.
In the corner, it said 2021 men's tournament, and the tweet said, for the first time since 1950, you know our fun thing with that.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, Baylor is back in the Final Four, and she responded back to her quote tweeted it and said, "You mean the men's team is in the Final Four? The women's team won it 2 years ago."
Right.
It's a picture of a dude. The art of the dude has it in the corner, says that. Now, what's her point? Like, what now you're complaining about, like, you really have nothing to do.
You wanted us to add a little bit more context to a picture of a Baylor men's basketball player?
She responded, she wanted to know why the Baylor's team is referred to as the Baylor team and all the girls' teams are referred to as the Baylor women or the South Carolina women, and not just the South Carolina basketball team. That was the whole argument. Like, well, this is what we're arguing about. Just simple, dumb words here nowadays, and who's offended, who's bothered, and like, if this is what we're arguing about, like okay, and I think the best response was, okay, Miss Taylor, how about this? The Baylor team, anyone can try out for.
Mm-hmm.
Only women can try out for the Baylor's women team. But any of that, you know, whether or not that's what you want to talk about that. But either way, it clearly said men's and it was a dude shooting.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what are we doing here?
I don't know.
I'm going to put it this way, Hunter. And I don't know if you agree with me. I don't care if you agree with me or even know. But I know for a fact, 100% sure. Right now, I could walk around Cherville, North Carolina, pick up 4 other dudes that could play basketball. Just 4 guys that live in Cherville, North Carolina. Not Shelby, not Cleveland County, not Charlotte, not North Carolina, the whole state of North Carolina. I'm just 4 people in Cherville, North Carolina. And we'll beat every WNBA team there is.
I'm not agreeing with you on that.
I'm not either.
Put it this way. Have you ever been to a park? Half the team that I played on, 3 of them still live in Cherville.
Listen, I get that. But I'm not going to go that far to just diminish where someone every day off the street that plays at the park could be a professional in their own right.
Males.
I get that.
I didn't say
now,
girls.
if we're talking about you go out here and I'm
So
getting
our center would be
6'4",
6'4", 250. What's the WNBA center going to be?
I mean, depends. You got Brittany Griner out there. I mean,
Yeah,
she's
and
like
he's
6'11". She's like 6'7", 6'8".
And he's going to kill her. Like, just straight kill her. That's what I'm saying. Just in Cherville, North Carolina. I didn't even say Charlotte. I didn't say the 4 dudes random in the world. I know for a fact I can go down to Cherville and get Wes Roberts, Brandon Terry, and then I can almost find 2 other guys, and it'll be nasty. Let me ask him. I'll get Andre down here. I know, but see, again, Hunter, well, how would you feel? Do you not think you could find 10 grown men and beat a professional women's soccer team? Not the U.S. women's, not the All-Stars. I'm talking about whoever the Charlotte Sting are. That we could get 10 grown men in North Carolina and go beat them.
In North Carolina, probably.
Right.
In the whole state, yeah.
But there's less people that play soccer at that level than I would say that play basketball at a girls' level of basketball. Like, where would the Baylor girls? What place would they come in the men's tournament?
Listen, I don't know.
Dead
last. I'm not one to always try and put down somebody that
I'm not putting them down.
That's a professional.
I'm being realistic.
I know you're being realistic. Now, I could sit here and say this. I could go around and probably find 5 of the, they don't have to necessarily be the top 5 or top 10 players at the high school level in the state. I'm not just talking about in the top 100, but maybe in a state, and they could probably beat a collegiate women's or one of the professional women team. But that's, again, like when we talked about this Monday. I'm just talking about, it's just a biological
Confirmed.
thing, but,
Confirmed.
From?
Andre's down the hall.
Good source.
Great source. I walked down there and said, Andre, could I not go down I just want to know true or false. Tell me true or false. Could I go down the park right now? Well, not right now, this second. But go down to Cherville Park, find 5 dudes, and beat the WNBA teams. Yeah. He didn't even think about it. There's so much a difference. I was just...
Dude, I know, but I can't say it. I can't say it. Because to a degree, how you're right. Someone's going to find it disrespectful.
Okay,
and I don't mean it to be that way, but I agree with you.
And if we're shooting on a 10-foot goal because it would hurt a girl's feeling to shoot on a smaller goal, we're shooting with men's basketball. Mm-hmm. We're not playing with palm balls here.
No. I can't comment on that. You say what you want. That's fine, but I can't.
That's the easiest thing I can think of. Like, I mean, our point guard's 6'2", and was all state. He sits down there and balls on people now, just like mid-range style. Just give me let's find a team. Who's the team? Who's the best team? I know that. Do either one of y'all know the answer to that one?
What?
Who's the best team in the WNBA?
Oh my God. No.
How about Los Angeles Sparks? You want to go there?
That's fine. I couldn't even tell you who the best player is.
All right.
In the WNBA. Not at all.
Our starting lineup would be 6'2" to 6'5". They have 2 girls that are 6'2" and one that's 6'4". And the one that's 6'4" weighs 200 pounds. Our whole starting lineup would weigh more than 200 pounds. Like, it's not even a... they've got skills, they can do that, but these are grown. Again, these are grown men too. They're grown women.
I know,
but they should be paid whatever the warehouse workers down at Walmart make. That's what those dudes are making down at the Cherville City Park. If they want fair play for equal work,
we talked about this Monday. It's a revenue-based system,
right?
And you make money based off of revenue. That's every business. That is just business and capitalism in general.
Yeah.
You can get paid what you bring in. Now, think about it. Are there many billionaire owners that just own a WNBA team and could just shell money out of their pocket? Probably not. Probably not.
Well, what did we looked up yesterday? We looked up the other day. It was $7 billion the NBA makes and $60 million.
Right.
The WNBA makes.
And that's just them bringing in off revenue. We're not talking the billionaire owners that just have money sitting on the side and can pay guaranteed money here and there out there yin yang. No. That's why I'm asking. I don't know how many. I'm just wondering how many billionaire owners have a WNBA team.
I'm reading about.
Now, if it's, let's say the Lakers own the Sparks because it's a billionaire owner in general, then I understand that. Same with maybe some of the other women's teams that are in those cities. Maybe the owner of the Chicago Bulls owns the women's team. But it doesn't happen like that all the time. So that's to me is if it's not revenue, if you don't want to base stuff off revenue, but off of revenue, then you want to start looking at the owners. Well, if the owner is only like, I don't know, a multi-millionaire, he can't quite shell out the kind of money that you can expect a billionaire to, especially when you go off these guaranteed or signing bonuses.
Right.
It's a money game.
I don't.
It's so easy.
Obviously.
If you've got more money, guess what? I can pay you more. If you have less money, guess what? I can't pay you as much as they do. It's that simple. There is no red in this black and white painting.
They're trying to make the argument
as just like that.
We're working under the same company and we're all playing basketball. Now, Hunter, as going into a company as a call it a freshman tech analyst, are you going to be paid as much as the senior tech analyst?
No, but I work under the same company.
Right, doing the same, probably more stuff than he does, right?
Probably.
Like an engineer's apprentice does most of the work.
Right.
He's making the $100 an hour and the apprentice is not.
No.
Shit. I was trying to find, let's see, who owns it. It says, I'm reading a paragraph. It says many teams are under an LLC, a corporation, or a parent NBA team. Teams in the WNBA shift ownership and location regularly.
So they don't even have footing.
No.
And they want money or more money than what they already make. It's like, first of all, Just be happy next week we're not moving the team to a different city. That's what this sounds like.
Here you go. 7.4 billion revenue NBA, 60 million WNBA. Average salaries NBA 6.4 million, WNBA 71,000. So if they wanted to pay the same as the men, 9 players would be all the money they could buy. With their $60 million they have,
Right,
at $6.4 million, you can pay 9 players. Y'all can't even have a practice.
Mm-mm.
Shit. People don't understand.
What do they think? That the NBA, because that's who they're under, is supposed to bail them out and give them the same amount of money? No. The NBA as a business as much as those singular 32 teams are, or 30 teams are in the NBA. Like, the NBA got to make money somewhere.
Ticket prices, NBA $89, WNBA $17. That's the average. Highest paid, Curry $40 million, Brittany Griner $113,000. Average viewership, NBA Finals $15 million, 2018 the whole season WNBA $230,000.
They just
average attendance 18 to 6. So 6,000. Like, how many is that, folks? Appalachian State and Duke's gyms are right at 9,000. App's like 9,800. Duke's
you're
is
not
like
even
9.
filling up the.
You can't even fill up Duke and App State. Now App State is way not. We have such a nicer gym than Duke does. It is insane. And so does Charlotte too.
Think about it. And Cameron's packed out.
Right.
Every time they packed out.
Not for the girls' game.
Nope.
Like the boys, the Tar Heels don't play. The girls play in Carmichael.
Yeah, they don't.
They
play in
can't
the
fill
Dean
up the
Smith
Smith Center because there's 23,000 seats. Well, sorry, they took out they put the new video scoreboards in the corner, so I think there's 21,000 seats now.
Anybody that's listening to this and wants to make a reference and say y'all are sexist, that's a lie. We are realists, and you don't like the fact
I like that word a lot.
And you don't like the fact that we're spitting it to you black and white, and we're not trying to say, well, there's a little bit of red in this black and white color, because there's not. You just paint it this way. You don't bring in the money.
If they made $1 billion a game, I would have no problem paying them $1 million.
Think about it. More people.
But like, if you don't have the money, it's just a dumb argument.
And think about it. More people would be inclined to invest in it if they saw it as a money making business. But really, if you look at it, like what billionaire owner is going to say, I have the option of buying a WNBA team or an NBA team. Which one of those is going to make me more money?
It's just
there's no way they would pick the WNBA team.
Besides the business point. Okay, there's the business points. So the business stuff shouldn't even be an argument.
It shouldn't be an argument, but they always want to talk. But they look past it whenever they argue. We need to be paid the same.
So as far as the game's concerned, listen, Hunter, if I said we're going to go watch a basketball game, and there's going to be no dunking, there's going to be some threes, there's going to be some ball movement, some picks. But there's nobody's gonna be slapping backboards. It's basically we're going to watch what you call church league basketball. And whether or not the girls can beat your church league team, they obviously can. The WNBA. Now, you see what I mean? Like they probably can. But the point being is that that's the level of basketball that you're asking people to watch. Is that I think what was one girl's team scored 24 yesterday. In an Elite 8 game, it was like 62-20, 32, or 24 something. It was bad. But what I'm saying is that you're basically asking people to watch a style of basketball that you can play yourself on church on Wednesday nights. And that's the problem with the game, and that's why they shouldn't get upset when someone says, let's lower the goal. Because the definition of insanity is keeping doing the same thing over and over. So they're trying to keep doing the same thing over and over and then say, well, fans are sexist. Well, more men watch the WNBA. What is your fan base? If you want men to watch, you need excitement, and dunking is something for them to get.
It's understandable if women are watching your game. Like, that's understandable.
What percentage? The average women, Hunter, 10 women. Okay, how many out of 10 women like to watch basketball?
Maybe 3 or 4.
Maybe I was going to go at 2 on.
It just depends.
Let's say it's 3. Okay, of those 3 out of 10 who like basketball, how many of them watch it, and then how many of them buy a season pass to the WNBA?
Right.
Because once I'm a fan of sports, but I haven't watched a lot of stuff because I don't have the channels and don't want to.
Mm-hmm.
So whether I don't mean I can, don't mean I do. So they got a problem that you gotta find women to like it. If you're gonna say all you men are sexist, then that means you want the women to watch it, right?
Right.
So, but if they don't, then how are you gonna get the women to watch it? Like, what's your goal? So it's a weird thing. Listen. Hunter and myself both. I'm 100% sure that if the men's game made $100 million for a game and the women's made 100, and they paid everybody the same, nobody'd have a problem with it
No,
at all.
I'd have
Who
no
cares?
problem with it.
But if one game makes $100 million, the other one makes $1 million, you can't sit there and say I deserve a piece of the other pie.
No, you're losing money if you're trying to pay people like that. If you're trying to pay more than what you bring in, that's how you bankrupt and
Honestly,
go
if that's your argument, do referees not need to be paid more then? Because they affect games way more than about anybody.
probably.
They should be getting tens of millions of dollars. Like, what if you're a referee? And that's the whole gambling argument anyway. Like, everybody on the field right now is making $100,000, but the guy blowing the whistle, he's making $5. You don't think the gamblers know that?
Mm-hmm.
You don't think the bookies know that? The mob knows that? Vegas knows that? Hey, Johnny referee, you want to make what the coach is making today? How about 3 extra holding calls today? Or every time they get a first down, how about a holding call? See, that's the thing all you got to do. Is how about we're on a sack? Your quarterback gets sacked. Oh, we're going to hold this time. Now it's 2nd and 25. You know you're not going to score on this drive.
Nah.
There's just so many ways to affect it. But all right, we got it kind of a little weird there for a little bit at first. NCAA, anything else more in the basketball as far as going in the Final Four? I guess we'll talk Saturday and do our picks and predictions.
Final Four, first time UCLA's made the Final Four since they had Russell Westbrook and Kevin Love on their roster back when they played Memphis with
Think about it, you
Derrick
have
Rose.
2 NBA teams and just college, it doesn't matter.
Huh.
Almost never does.
No. Because they made it, but they didn't make the national championship. They lost to Memphis and Derrick Rose.
So I had my text ready to send you guys last night as soon as UCLA was going to lose. But told you guys it'd be nothing but 1s and 2s. Sat here for 5 weeks wasting our time. And we really did. We're 1 point away from being all 1s and 2s.
Mm-hmm.
UCLA pulls off the 11 upset. How do you do the seedings right? It's not fair to make App State and Norfolk doing a playing game after winning their conference and putting teams that are like 7th and 8th in it. But then, of course, Terry and them would make the argument those teams are better than those other ones. So how do you seed them by how good you think they are, or do you seed them by what they earn? Like, say, like if I'm a conference champion and you're 9th,
I don't know. It's weird because obviously UCLA wasn't even a conference champion. They actually had a losing record at one point in the season. Had a
13-6 in the conference, 22-9 overall is what they finished.
So, but that was early because they had a guy that was supposed to play with them, and I'm pretty sure he opted out and instead decided to go to the G League. He was a really high recruit point guard, and then they had some injuries throughout the season. It just never really clicked. But then when they got everybody back, they started to play really well.
Mm-hmm.
And it didn't really pan out. Oregon State was the one that went on the miraculous run when it came to the Pac-12 tournament. And I was more focused on Oregon State's run by them obviously going, because they reminded me of UConn and Kemba Walker's year back in 2010, 2011, where they went on to win their conference tournament and they went on a run to win the national championship. And so I was looking at Oregon State like that. But now I think I need to shift my focus to UCLA, who, when we talk about you're peaking at the right moment and you've got all the momentum in the world, like, why would you not? The hard part is just who you draw next. You draw the juggernaut right now.
They're 4th in the conference, finished 4th in the conference, and they're in the Final Four.
Yeah. And the Big Ten, the Pac-12 was the one that had really the most people make it past the round of 32.
How does Baylor even have sports after everything that's happened
Well, that was
there?
a football team, but
Either way, like, hey, do you want your daughter to go to Baylor University? No. Under no circumstances, no. Like, so how do you get recruits? Hey, well, we got a new coach. Everybody's not getting raped anymore. But like, I don't know. Is it the coach, the university, the town? But by God, here they are. You think I guess they're paying well.
I think
Because they're good in basketball, football, all, like Why is the University of Texas not good as Baylor? With all the TV money, all the money they have, and all the things.
I don't know why.
So why is Baylor better?
I just don't know why the University of Texas is not as great and everything else like they used to be. Now, basketball-wise, they were good this year.
I mean, Kevin Durant went there.
Regular season. But
LaMarcus Aldridge went there too, didn't he?
Yes. Postseason-wise, they've seemed to have faltered the past few years under Shaka Smart, and that's why he's leaving to take the head coaching job at Marquette. So he's not there anymore.
Think about that.
He's had 2 or 3 straight years of early exits. Left Texas
for Marquette.
For basketball. I know it's not football, but still basketball. Like, you're good at basketball there.
Right. What? It's still Texas. Well, you don't leave Texas for any reason. Like, all the money, everything you need is in Texas.
For God's sakes, they have their own network.
Right.
Longhorn Network.
So, Tanner, what state is Marquette in? Do you know?
Wisconsin.
I didn't know. That's what I'm saying. I leave Texas for wherever the hell Marquette is.
Wisconsin.
Like, you can recruit better in Wisconsin than Texas? Like, these college coaches are weird.
Out of the Final Four, though, I hate it because it is starting to look like Gonzaga or the field. And I did not want it to be that way.
Oh, don't be scared and pick UCLA.
I wanted it to be somewhere else. But I just don't like. After what I saw them do to USC looked like a JV team out there. At one point, they were down like 25. And USC's game, there was no way they could make a comeback against Gonzaga. There was no way. They had said during the whole game and leading up to the game that USC was weak from the 3-point perimeter, like shooting the ball. I said, well, you can't win that way.
Yeah.
Because if you're down 25, what's the great equalizer? You hit like 3 or 4 threes, and you're kind of back in the thing.
Mm-hmm.
And just how I had watched them defensively, if you can't hit threes and you can't stop them on defense, then I'm sorry. There's a reason why you lost by 19. It should have really been worse. But Gonzaga came out at half, was not as strong as they had started out, then started to really pick it up and amp it up as the second half started to go on. So I'm telling you, can UCLA do it? I don't know. I really didn't get to see how they played against Michigan. I was tired by the time that game came on.
What is the deal with that?
It was like 9:50 when the game came on.
9:58 was tip-off of a almost Final Four team game.
Yeah, why are we playing all these late night games?
See, that's what I don't understand.
I'm so tired of that.
And not only that, it's not like this is being played in California. No, this is in Indianapolis.
So the more
they cater to the West Coast much.
I may hate y'all's generation just because of that more than anything. Is that I've missed so many sporting events. I'm just like, because here's the deal. If it's not something overwhelming that I have to watch, I'm not going to at 10 o'clock.
No.
Like at 10 o'clock, you're winding down, or most people are, and I'm not going to, and if it's not a team I like, I'm flipping through. That's awful. Like if you're a kid, how are you supposed to stay up and watch that?
And watch them come around when it gets to be the NCAA final and be like, we got
it'll be
9:20. They might say we got like an 8:30, 9 o'clock tip.
So their strategy is what they do. It's gonna be 9:15. Is what they're doing is like you said, the West Coast. Mm-hmm. So whatever it is, it needs to be at least 6 o'clock there.
Which means
because they want people home on a TV.
Which means it's 9 o'clock East Coast.
Right. So the earliest the major games can start.
But
will be
where
9 o'clock
where are most of the major cities? The East Coast. That's why I've never understood why they're catering to the West Coast.
There ain't an East Coast team in the Final Four.
No, there's not. It's 2 Texas teams and Washington and California. So they're getting ready to cater the shit out of the West Coast for this.
Yeah.
They want their team. They want UCLA's area watching. 100%.
9 o'clock tip off. I said 9:20. I was close.
That's for the first game?
No, Monday.
For the championship.
Monday night, 9 o'clock tip off.
Damn. I don't want to wait until 9 o'clock to watch a national championship game, man.
For real.
Monday. I mean,
Saturday, 5:15 and 8:35.
Okay, that's not as bad.
What's the Saturday night? 8:30.
Right.
Like Monday night at 9.
Well, all right, let's stick with this whole topic right now of these games and these times. When did we start deciding that championships should be played on Monday nights?
Okay, that's drove me crazy for years. College has done that for a long time.
Why don't we play on the weekends?
The one I remember the most, obviously, when I was in college, North Carolina won a national championship. And as a App fan, we won the national championship on a Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
So we could book a hotel and party our asses off. But if you're school, you got school the next day.
Right.
Like, there's no reason these shouldn't be on Saturday. Like, why is the Final Four on Saturday? If you don't tell me you can't play it on Saturday because you're playing the Final Four on Saturday. So play those on
Thursday.
Even I always thought Super Bowl Sunday should have been Super Bowl Saturday. You have no reason you can't.
There's no reason why you gotta make me wake up the next day after a hangover.
People want to enjoy the games, enjoy the national championship games. I just never remember we were at App, but at App, and for you folks not from North Carolina, most people in North Carolina are either Duke or North Carolina fans when it comes to basketball and sports. And a lot of people go to different schools where it's App, Charlotte, or whatever, and you're pulling for the other teams sometimes. So it's not like the love for Tar Heels and Duke basketball is more than the love for your school in North Carolina in a lot of cases. I'm not sure if others. I'm guessing other states are that way in some ways.
Maybe.
But not in North Carolina.
The only other thing I could probably picture that as, say you go to Ohio, you probably are rooting for Ohio State football more than your own school's football.
Maybe if you go to Ohio, that's like saying so. Like if I was like, Hunter, where'd you go to school? Well, I go to UNC Charlotte. And then your next question, if you live in North Carolina, so you a Tar Heels or Duke fan?
Exactly. That is exactly the question.
Right. Which school do you go to?
Listen, I got a buddy of mine. He graduated from UNC Charlotte. He's a Tar Heel fan.
99.999% of Duke fans have never set foot on that campus in any form or fashion, whether by fan or by taking a class. At least North Carolina's are about 90% of those.
Right. I've at least been there.
There's at least 10% of them that haven't been.
I at least have been there for a camp. Like
Carolina's maybe close to 50-50, but Duke's is not.
No. They don't let many people on that campus.
No, not even for North Carolina. Like it's really low. I mean, even on their basketball and other teams, it's nobody from North Carolina. Like that is a New Jersey State school with a North Carolina address is what Duke is. So yeah, they're playing Saturday and Monday.
That's so dumb, dude. Why?
Gonzaga plays second game Saturday.
If you want to have a day in between, why not do Friday and then play Sunday?
Are Houston and Baylor in the same conference?
No.
Baylor in the Big 12? Houston's not.
Houston's not.
I didn't know they hadn't been back since Phi Slamma Jamma. Yeah. I didn't know. I thought they'd been back.
Houston is in the American, I think. I think they're in there with SMU and Central Florida and all them.
All right, Tanner and Hunter, we're talking baseball. Here are the official power rankings, according to
Espen.
Y'all's favorite.
No. Heck
show.
no.
All right. Let's take a couple guesses on where everybody is in the power rankings. Tanner, who's the number one team in the power rankings?
That should be easy.
Blue Jays?
No.
Devil Rays?
They letting the Blue Jays play in Canada?
Rockies?
Or are they still in?
That's a good damn question.
I don't know. They didn't let them last year.
I need to Google that. Tanner, you got that many choices. This ain't
I'm going to say Yankees.
Okay, wrong. It's the Los Angeles Dodgers.
That's who I was going to say at first.
They are last year's reigning champions, so it's only fitting. Anytime someone says power rankings or preseason rankings, I'm always like, if you don't have the reigning champion as number one, to me, it's false.
Hunter, where are your Braves?
I think the Braves are second.
No.
I think Braves are at least.
We're talking about
top
ESPN
five.
here.
Okay.
What are you talking about?
Now, hold on. Now, you just said the magic word. We're talking ESPN here. Let me guess. Does that mean that the Los Angeles Angels are ahead of the Braves?
No.
Okay.
Not
Woo!
Those aren't close.
All right.
But you know who.
All right. I'll be realistic. Even though I believe we might have the second best roster, I'm going to say fifth.
You're fourth.
Okay, so I was close.
Who's second?
It's the Yankees.
Yes. See? That wasn't that hard. I don't want to admit it.
I don't want to admit it. Who's third?
Who's third? We're talking about ESPN here. Okay, wrong. It's the Los Angeles Angels. Who's second?
I don't want to admit it. 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 I don't want to ad Padres.
There you go. And 5th, the Mets.
Mets are trying to sign Lindor to a big contract, but he turned down their first offer.
So 3 of the top 5 power ranking teams are in the 2 biggest cities in America.
Yeah.
So it says for the Braves projected record, 96 wins, 85% playoff odds.
96 wins.
Mm-hmm.
God, mighty, I wish we'd hit that 100 mark.
Worst case scenario is another injury spate hits your rotation, and the Braves reworked bullpen mix doesn't hold up, and they slip to the mid 80s.
So I hope that. But even then, in the mid 80s, we can still make the playoffs. It would just.
How many teams are they letting in this year?
Are we still expanded?
I don't know. It's a 40. Everybody in.
Screw it.
Honestly, you can call me crazy all you want. I would rather them play 100 games and everybody get in than 162. And then
I'd rather them play 80 games and let everybody in.
I think the series,
if you
like in a series in baseball, like the sorry teams, they're going to lose out anyway.
They'd probably get, if it's a 5-game series, they'll get beat 3-1.
The most exciting player in Atlanta this year will be whatever that means.
You want me to guess?
Yeah.
Pache.
Acuna.
See, that was too
That's
easy.
who I was thinking of.
I would have said Acuna, but I didn't know if they meant like a new. Like they were trying to get you to guess a new
just
guy.
says the most exciting.
If
player.
it's the most exciting player, will always be Acuna because his bats. It can be a firework at any moment.
It says he's got
Didn't Nick Markakis retire?
Yeah, I do know that.
It says he'll make a run at 40-40 club, but don't think he'll make it. But they do think he may make a run at Andrew Jones's Braves home run record of how many? Do you know? Single season record for the Braves, and it's not Hank Aaron. Think about it. Think about this.
45.
A little bit more.
50.
51.
Okay.
The all-time home run king does not have the most home runs in a season
with the Braves.
And the guy that does is known for being his defense, and they won't let him in the Hall of Fame because of his offense.
I know. He's got, what, 6 or 7 gold gloves?
Listen, I'm not a Braves fan. I'm not an Andrew Jones fan. The boy's a Hall of Famer.
Jones brothers. Got back in the day, the Jones brothers, Chipper and Andrew.
And first of all,
3 and 4 spots.
Right. First of all, I'm an Ozzie Smith Cardinals fan. So you have me at love on a good defensive player. Then he hits 500 or 400 home runs. I think it was 450 something.
And he has the most in a single season in Braves franchise
right. He's got
history,
more than
51.
Hank Aaron in Braves history. I mean, no, he's not a Hall of
Now
Famer.
they think Acuna could beat that this year.
That's what it said.
That's a tall task.
You
man.
don't want. You probably don't want that.
Well, no, because that means it's going to be home run or strikeout.
150K.
Yeah. We're gonna be up there in the strikes for Acuna, and I don't want that. Though, and think about it. How are they going to say that and they unjuiced the balls? Like,
Yeah.
Come on now.
Right, that's true too. See, these sports,
I would say he's got a better chance of getting 40-40 now that the balls are unjuiced than he does getting the 50 over 51 home runs.
He'll hit doubles instead of home runs.
Yep.
These sports, when I say they're fixed or set up, and you roll your eyes at, not just you, just people, but how can you have a record number of home runs in a season?
Mm-hmm. And always,
but nobody hit 60. Nobody got 55. Like nobody's threatening the old home run mark, but we've got over 200 or 300 more home runs than's ever been hit. So the mid-level guys are hitting them.
Yeah, that's what it is. Because they had the balls juiced.
Then in basketball, teams are averaging 10 more points a game than they have been in the past. But the leading scorers are still only 2 guys averaging 30. There's nobody averaging 40 or 30. Nobody's still touching Jordan's 37 right now. Harden's been the closest, but those years are past him now.
Man, he's not.
He's scoring 37 with Durant and Kyrie out there.
No.
So what that means, again, that's raising those mid-level guys who are you got more.
Well, you know what it is. There's no defense being played, so everybody can find their way to the basket and get a few extra points.
So what I'm getting is that baseball and basketball have tried to, and football has tried to. I'll get to football in a second, but baseball and basketball has made a concerted effort to increase offense in their sports. football's tried to,
especially baseball.
The baseball thing, and what's funny about it is that they've done this, Hunter, to increase offense, but it's still, when you look at the numbers, there's no individual that's just dominating the numbers. And they'll say Trout and the Juan Soto, and I'll look at them like, it's the same stuff. Like, the best players today, to me, are just as good as the best players 20 years ago. Like, you can't look at Muhammad Ali and Mike Tyson and say, the guys now are bigger, faster, stronger.
You can't say that about Ali. There's no way. He was huge.
Like, or George Foreman
was bigger than Ali.
For Christ's sake. Like, and that's the thing, is like, muscles just don't get, like, they can only get a certain size.
Right.
Like, okay.
You can only do so. The human body your body can only really get so big.
Right.
And then eventually it's like going to plateau, and that's it. That's all you're getting.
Wilt Chamberlain was winning high jumps face first. But we're going to talk about faster, stronger now.
Mm-hmm.
So what I'm saying is that these teams are pushing these offenses, and it's not making the stars better. It's making everyone else better. And I don't know if that's a good thing or bad thing. Now, the NFL, what they've done, and theirs is that, I bet if you looked at the penalty, so if you got a spectrum of right, left, of defensive favorable penalties and offensive favorable penalties, it'll be like 75
offense. Yeah.
You can't touch a wide receiver now when he runs
within
downfield.
5 yards.
Like,
you got that 5-yard cushion, and after that you can't touch him.
If there's an illegal contact, see, this is how I think the rule should be. If you want to do the illegal contact, whatever. I hate it. I hate that call at all. It used to be in Tanner, you don't know this too. The rule used to be, it's not pass interference. You can hit your player at any time on the field until the ball is in the air. And then the rules committee made an argument. Well, defenders can't tell when the ball's in the air. They know when the ball's coming. You know, when the receiver puts his hands up and his eyes get real big, hello, that's when it's coming. So you just kick their ass until then. But that was just the simplest thing. And now it's an automatic. You could have third and 47, and a guy bump you at 7 yards, and it's a first down. I think that should be either a spot foul, and then whatever the downs are,
college,
or
is just
5 yards and repeat the down.
College, it is just like a 15-yard penalty.
Yeah.
In the pros, it is a spot foul.
No, illegal touching is, and it's just 5 yards automatic first down. Pass interference is
spot foul, which is
I
stupid
like
to
it.
me.
I actually love that.
I don't like that at all. Because if you get PI'd called down at like the 5-yard line, and it's really just like a barely call that the ref decides was PI, I'd be like, that was a blown call, and you just put him there at the 5.
Okay, but you know what I'm doing if I'm playing Randy Moss and I only get 15 yards? I just grab him at 15 yards.
Yeah.
So you can either take the medicine that, hey, DBs don't hit a guy 47 yards down the field, or every time Randy Moss goes deep, we're just going to grab him.
Why not?
So that's the problem with that. And as a DB, I should know. You know not to hit him. You're just going for the ball anyway. It's so aggravating to me. And then the quarterbacks. I swear to God, I would have loved it. Like, today's games were made for me. He getting hit in the face. I got hit in the face every play, either by a helmet or a hand. How about basketball? Everybody shoot threes and pass around? Fuck yeah, this is fun. Tanner, our coaches told our guards, because we ran the Carolina offense, and he didn't want to shoot in the threes. If we missed a three, we were coming out. So if we shot it,
you better hit it.
You got a 1 in 3 chance on average of being a good shooter. So if I shoot, I got a 2 in 3 chance I'm coming out of the next play if I shoot this three. Like, how do you play freely like that? How do you know what I mean? So excuse me, sorry. So back what we were going on.
Offense in all sports,
right? So
really,
I was talking about the football penalties, but we started with we're in baseball right now. Yes, they're doing it, and I think, Hunter, like you were talking about, they've changed the baseballs. So the argument is, do you want more doubles, steals, singles, and triples, or do you want more home runs and strikeouts?
And see, we'll see how this affects the Dodgers, because that was the one thing going into really this season that they were talking about they had so much of last season, which was just firepower. They had guys 1 through 7 that at a swing of a bat could just launch the thing in 400 feet into the outfield. And so I don't know necessarily if that messes up quite their style of play, if they adjust to it well, and that's what they really want to do is play some sort of small ball, moving people around the bases. I think Mookie Betts could play it, because he's not really known for being a power hitter like Cody Bellinger and Seager or is it Seager or Siegel? I can't remember. It doesn't
Seager.
matter. Seager, yeah, the Corey Seager, the shortstop for them. Like they are Justin Turner that's with them. He's got the big bat, can really put the ball into about 400 or 500 feet over the wall. I just don't know. We'll see how that plays because in my mind, I'm thinking now you're forcing the manager and the coaches to have to think, all right, well, we can't just always look at it as home run or strikeout now because this ball might not travel the extra 20 or 30 feet some of these guys need.
One thing I don't like about the Twitter and stuff and today's game is that with these, and this is Tony La Russa's fault. He started all this stuff, having this in the dugout. But like, if a manager chooses to bat a guy batting 260 instead of a guy batting 300 against a guy, fans will lose their ever-loving mind. But then if you really break it down, be like, okay, let's talk about this, guys. If these two guys, say Tanner bats 260, you bat 300, okay, off the bench. In 100 at-bats, all that means is that you're going to have, what, 3 more hits? No, 4 more hits?
Yeah, that's it.
So the geeks on the internet are getting mad at the manager sitting in the dugout who's looking at these guys and be like, well, if these guys bat 100 times, on average, that guy's going to have 4 more hits. That's not that much at all.
I mean, not to mention, if you're talking about guy going up to the plate and it's like an offensive substitution because the pitcher's still in, and this wouldn't be the 3rd or 4th time that he sees this guy coming up to the plate. Might actually change it up and stuff. Why not? Like you said, if we stop putting that extra 0 at the end of averages,
right,
that's it. If we stop putting these extra zeros at the end of these averages, it's really just a difference of 3 and 4.
Okay, so let's think about
3 or 4 points. So in
take
this
the
game,
last
it'll be 3
zero
or 4
off.
hits.
You're right. Let's take the last 0 off. So now you're
It's-
batting 30%. Now you're batting 26%, right? What's 26 rounded?
Rounded. Oh, it's 30. Yeah.
So we're batting, for the most part,
30.
almost the same.
Yeah.
Even though it's 40 points higher, and over a baseball season of 600 at bats, yeah, that turns into 40 hits. But out of 100, that's what we're arguing about over here. Like, so you're telling me at the end of the day, fella, a 4% chance he's got a better, and I should be fired because of that. Like, come on. All right, Cardinals are 14th in the power rankings, 83 projected wins. This guy's been drinking too much. It's like nobody looks at history. Like, shit, 83 is like our bottom feeder. Like, the lowest Yachty's ever won is 79. Just put that out there. The lowest Yachty's ever won is 79
They're probably
wins.
looking at your division, though, saying that, I mean,
them.
Milwaukee's pretty good. Chicago is still good.
Who's
I
that?
mean, I'm just saying.
I'm disrespecting everyone, Hunter.
I'm just saying.
Says best case scenario, Arenado and Goldschmidt mark a balanced offense. The Cardinals play the best, baseball's best defense again. Think about that. We got the best defense and catcher. He's never lost never won less than 79 games. I'm not saying we're going to win 100, but we're winning more than 83, boys.
I'll give you 86.
I say 90 is the over-under on that.
90?
Yeah, definitely.
Who is y'all's catcher?
Holy shit balls. Have you ever watched a baseball game in your life?
Yeah, but I don't watch MLB that much at all.
Who's our catcher? That's what he just asked me. All right, the outfield, it says worst case scenario, the outfield sucks, basically. The Cardinals struggle for runs. Yeah. I'm more concerned about the starting pitching. Carlos Martinez is still on our team. He's a nut. And I like him as a reliever because he's a nut. But they like...
They brought him in against the Braves that year that y'all put like 13 on us in one of the games, but still.
He probably gave up 6 for fun.
I watched the game with him and he was... The control's not quite there at all, but he's got heat. I mean,
Yeah.
he can put some fire past you, but where that fire is gonna go, I don't think he can tell you. It's just coming out. You know, you just better hope to God you can pick it up right here, or else you might be getting beamed in the side.
Yeah.
If you're not careful. He's got heat though.
Schoenfeld predicted the Cardinals would go 80. Listen to this ass wipe.
Who is
80.
this?
Whoever did this article. 80 and 82. The Cardinals will go and have their first losing season since 2007.
It's been over 10 years, and you think
It's
it's
been
going to happen.
14 years.
I know, that's what I'm saying. It's been over, but I was just saying in general, it's been over 10 years, and you just think it's going to happen now. All of a sudden, after the addition of Arenado, who to me doesn't make you worse. I mean, I think it makes you better.
Well, yes. Yes.
Baseball is one of the weird things, though, where there is no guarantee, even with the addition of one player, that you're just going to be good. To me, last year, the Dodgers, they just got lucky. I don't mean like just lucky that they won the championship. Obviously, they're really good, but very rarely do you bringing in that one player, Mookie Betts, change everything. You already had a good roster. It just made you a little bit better and made that leadoff spot a whole lot more dangerous.
I'm 100% confident in this because of the catcher. I've been telling y'all that for years.
Yeah.
If he's on the field and he's on the team, we win ball games. All right, Tanner, since you don't know him for some reason. Maybe the greatest catcher ever. Yadier Molina. He's right there on that T-shirt. Looking all clutch and shit, dog. Do you know who Yadier is? No? Do you know any of his brothers?
No.
Benji? Jose?
I know Jose.
Yeah, okay. Him and his brothers have 5 championship rings. Barry Bonds, King Griffey Jr., and Mike Trout, you could put them all in the same outfield. They have 0 rings. My point...
I didn't know Barry Bonds had 0.
Yeah. My point almost always is Mike Trout's never won a playoff game. Not a series, a game. He's been in the league 10 years, hasn't won a fucking game.
What's so crazy, too, is they play series in the playoffs.
Right.
And
He got swept.
He didn't even win a game.
Yadier, Tanner, in his career in St. Louis, the pitching staff, let me put it this way. The pitching staff, when he's in the game, has the best ERA in baseball. When he's not, it's a full run better. So it's 3.0 something when he's in the games, 4.1 something when he's not. In the past, throughout his career, 20 years or 17 years. He started in 04, 17 years. Since 04, only one time in his career did they have a losing season, what that guy was mentioning. And they won 79 games, which is 2 games under 500. So in his career, 2 games under 500 one time in his career. He's only had one losing season in 17 years. And the ERA is 1.1 run better when he's in there. Now, that's all with his defense stuff. He's also one of the most clutchest hitters we've ever had. It is insane. He's up to bat. We need a run. He gets a hit. It's insane. He ain't up there he's not banging doubles. He's not hitting 500. He's not Pujols or McGuire in that Joker Hunter, but he's going to get hit down the line. Just get ready for it.
What's his crush quotient?
Yeah, I need to look up his crush quotient. Perfect Tanner. Perfect Tanner. So he's back. Him and Wainwright. Wainwright's going to win 10 games, 12 games. He's hit or miss right now at this point of his career.
You know, they said
But Yachty threw out 3 people 2 days ago in one game.
You guys,
spring training.
For you, your superstition, and I'm quoting it because obviously there's the numbers to back it up, but your superstition usually is, we'll just call it that, is Yachtier's there, you're going to win. If he's not there, more than likely you're not going to win. I know the numbers.
They'll win the series.
I know the numbers.
Whatever it is,
I know the numbers
series,
back
right.
it up, but
Right.
I'm just labeling it that. Our superstition for this year, straight up, because we saw it last year, even without Soroka. If Soroka's healthy for us, hell, I think we exceed the 90 wins. I think we do. I think we push very close to 100 because he will solidify either that ace or that number 2 spot, depending on where they want to bring him back at. I just believe it. Max Fried came on great last year. Ian Anderson for a rookie looked fantastic.
On their starters.
I just hated that the injury bug did hit us. And at one point last year, Acuna was injured for a little while too. Albies missed time. So we had core players that missed games, but we still were able to, we locked up the 2 or the 3 seed. Mm-hmm. I think we locked up 2 or 3 seed in the playoffs last year. So to me, sky's the limit. Health. If we stay healthy, I think we're fine. And I actually think it's a blessing in disguise that Markakis did retire. Because I know he plays very good defense. He was out in the outfield for us. That's a very good outfielder, multiple gold gloves throughout his career. And he's got a lot of career hits, not home runs, just career hits. But when I last saw him, in the playoffs, he left a bad taste in my mouth. He was non-existent. He didn't show up in big moments. And I was more impressed with Christian Pache, who was young.
How old is he? Like 19 or 20?
Yeah, he's like 19 or 20.
Big old kid, ain't he?
Oh, he's very big. I think he's like 6'3", 6'4". I was more impressed with him, so I think his development and him being able to just play a full regular season, I think we're in great shape.
Yeah, I don't think you lose much. All right, Tanner, listen to the Cardinals since Yadier got there. These are divisions, okay? First, third. That was the one losing season, Hunter. 78 wins. No. Yeah. Nope, 79 wins. Sorry, I was reading that wrong. Fourth, they came in fourth place, Hunter, in the division, 86 wins. They came in fourth in the division that year.
How the heck they come
Must have been
fourth?
That's been a hell of a year for that division.
Pujols won the MVP that year. They lost to the Dodgers in the National League Division Series. Second, first, second, third, first, second. So since Yachty came in the league, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of the 17 years they won the division. So every
year
half
did he
year,
come in?
04. So basically 50% of this time they win the division. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times in second. So 12 of the 17 years they're first or second. And like I said, only one losing season. Man, I'm confident in that. Like I said that during the playoffs last year. So they're going to win 30. They ain't going to miss it. All right, who do you think the worst team in baseball is according to this?
The Baltimore Orioles.
No. They're next to last.
Is it the Kansas City Royals?
No. They're 22nd.
Wow. Damn, now I got to think around the league.
Arr.
Oh, was it Pittsburgh?
Yeah. It's the Pittsburgh Pirates.
Nah.
Where's the Angels, according to Schoenfield?
20th.
15th. Right behind the Cardinals.
I think that's
You ready for this? Mike Trout leaves no doubt he's the best player in the game.
Who the hell says that?
That's the first sentence on this.
Are these people on crack?
Yeah.
Well, they have to. What they have to do is they have to sell clicks and they have to sell a
Now,
narrative.
think about how ridiculous
it's
the rest of the sentence is. That's not the whole sentence. And is joined in the MVP chatter by Rendon and Ohtani. Is anyone talking about either one of them being the MVP of the American League?
No.
That's what he does the first sentence.
I mean, act like. Wait. How? First of all, Ohtani has been a disappointment since he got to the Angels after his little blip. He had like a week or two. All right. Rendon has only been there for a year, and the Angels didn't even make the playoffs last year with adding him.
So it says best case, the trio of stars is enough to boost a stable, healthy league average roster to 95 wins. League average roster again. They
League
keep saying
average
with the
to 95 wins with three players are going to do that, and not one of them's a pitcher.
Right.
Well, Ohtani is half and half, but
It says worst case scenario, and don't this sound more realistic? Like that's happened in the past 10 years. I'm just going to read it out loud. You can tell me what you think. The Angels' rotation can't contribute either a quality or quantity of innings. Trout looks like he's lost a step, and Ohtani suffers more injuries.
hadn't that been like the last 2 or 3
Damn,
years?
y'all nailed that one. There you go.
They forgot to put in there as well and missed the playoffs.
The Angels again limp to a losing season as pundits start wondering whether the Halos will ever contend while Trout is still a star player.
Is still a star player.
They're getting people to write just basically clickbait.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
yeah,
obviously.
they have to. Yeah, they have to.
Well,
But it's funny because I feel like when they type this stuff out, they're almost typing it to try and convince themselves, not just me.
Sounds like it.
Yeah.
Right?
It's one of those things where they live and work in a contained environment where everyone thinks the same thing and says the same things. I saw a tweet yesterday, Hunter. It was about it was ESPN. It was Travolta, I think, sitting there like this, like what do I do? Mm-hmm. It said ESPN now that LeBron and LaMelo's hurt.
Probably. Now they need to. Baseball's about to start. They got to talk up.
They don't know what to do.
Got to talk up the Angels. Ugh.
Is LaMelo out for the season?
I hope so.
I think they did shut him down for the rest of the season.
I hope so. Hornets have been on fire since they got rid of him. They dominated Hunter's team last night.
That's fine, because they're bad.
I want you to finally admit that Russell Westbrook's better than John Wall.
Why? Just because he's getting triple doubles and we're still losing?
Well, yeah.
I mean, no.
Russell Westbrook is
Listen,
better
Russell,
than John Wall.
listen. Russell Westbrook might be a better overall player than John Wall, but I still would have taken John Wall on this team. If this was the same, if we were going to do the same exact thing, I'd be fine with it. Because guess what? We're still a non-talking point.
Y'all starters. I just looked at the start. Like, I don't have any basketball players. Y'all got three basketball players. It's Westbrook, Beal, and Hachimura, and the rest of them are
like Avdija has underperformed.
I think he's been, he was the best European player supposed to be coming into the draft. I mean, do you look at Scott Brooks like what's I mean,
because think about it.
You have the worst defense in the league. That's got to be on coaching a little bit on it.
I think it's on Scott Brooks, and I like Scott Brooks, but think about it. When he started to lose his stars in OKC, it didn't work out for him. Started to lose games, but he still had Russell Westbrook there, but they were nowhere near what they were. So then you have to almost look at it like this. Was it Scott Brooks and his coaching as much as it was Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook, and James Harden? Because now that he's been here with Washington, I think for 3 or 4 years now, it's just not translating to victories. We're not winning. And we've got talent in Hachimura and Russell Westbrook, and especially Bradley Beal, who's leading the league in points. I think he still is. I don't understand.
Coaching strategy.
I don't think in the NBA it really works.
I don't think it matters.
You just kind of tell them, go out here and work on it. And if we run this play, it'll probably
Your main job is to keep people from fighting each other, one. Two is to make people play defense. So I think that's your main things as a coach. What plays are when Steve Kerr went out, Walton did just fine, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Well, see,
the coaching,
who was I listening to?
I hate to blame the coaches, but damn,
I was listening to somebody the other day. They were interviewing with Colin Cowherd, or Colin was interviewing them. I cannot remember who it was, but they said they live in the Bay Area, because I'm glad you brought up Steve Kerr. Mm-hmm. He said, obviously, when the Warriors were at their peak, they were getting a lot of views in the Bay Area like they were the San Francisco 49ers, all right? Because that was a championship-level team, and Kevin Durant was there. They had star power, Kevin Durant, Steph Curry, and so they were underneath a microscope, and everybody loved to watch them. And now, he says, murmuring in the area is Steve Kerr really a good coach? Because he doesn't. It was after Steve Kerr came out in an interview and said that he had more fun the year they were losing than the final year Kevin Durant was there. And he said, well, how is that the case? Because you're losing. And it seems that if you don't have your players, you just keep losing and losing. Even with only Steph Curry, you barely can break over 500. He said, so how much was it? Like, essentially, he's calling out his player development, how the young guys really aren't panning out, but the established stars, obviously Clay and Steph, they do their thing. But when they're not there, it's crap.
That's it.
I said it for
It's
years.
the Jimmys and the Joes, not the X's and the O's.
I said it for years. I said I never understood why they fired Mark Jackson, because Mark Jackson has, to me, all the credit of building that Warriors team. Mm-hmm. He drafted Steph. He drafted Clay. He drafted Draymond and Harrison Barnes. And then they fire him, and next year Steve Kerr comes in and takes him to the championship.
Like, what plays are they supposed to draw up that's without Klay Thompson on the court? Like again, you have a 33-year-old Steph Curry on the court and Draymond Green and Wiggins. What play?
They got Kelly Oubre too. To me, it's like,
what play is Steve Kerr supposed to draw up that's going to beat the Lakers or the Nets?
Well, I don't know. I just look at it and I'm like, you would think you would at least be a little bit more competitive than what you are.
They're over 500. They'd be a 4 seed in the East.
That doesn't seem very
That's
hard.
I was looking at the Hornets' record. Hunter.
Yeah.
If they were in the West, they'd be out of the playoffs. They'd be ninth. That's how overwhelming more wins the West have than the East. It's not even close.
And like I'm sitting here thinking about it, and it's like I just don't understand because I don't think they're necessarily just the group of better players is not just all in the West anymore. There are a lot of good players coming to the East now, but is it the coaching? Do they just have better coaches over there? Maybe they just do player development better, and their role players are better than any of the role players we have in the East. I don't know.
Let me look at what. Again, with basketball, the best player usually wins out most of the time, especially the best two. We've talked before, if you got one star, he needs 40. If you got two, you need 60. If you got three, you need 75 from your three to be a good team. And if you look at the Warriors roster, where are you getting 75 points from?
You might get 50.
I think if you get 20 from 35 from Curry and 25 from Wiggins, which are
Right.
big nights, that's 60. Who can you count on to get you 15 more? It sure as hell ain't Draymond, and he's the one
No.
you're paying to get you the money. Draymond's getting $22 million, Hunter, and averaging 6 points or 7 points.
It's a waste of money.
That's again for NBA. The easiest way to do NBA is the cap's right at 110, and they're averaging 110, so $1 million a point. That's the easiest way I can sub things up is that if you're getting paid $1 million a point. So if you do it that way, Curry, Clay, Andrew, and Draymond are all overpaid by a lot. Draymond by a lot. Like you could get another player. Think about Draymond at $22 million. $22 million. He's still going up, dude. He's still got 3 more years, 22, 24, and $25 million. They're not going to win again. You can write it down. Not if he's on the team. They chose Draymond Green over Kevin Durant and Harrison Barnes just because that's their friend. I told y'all that a few years ago about Hornets and their friend balls. Everybody's friendly. Everybody's friends of Kemba. Well, whoop-de-damn-do. Don't matter. We're all friends now. As long as Draymond's on the team and nobody's mad at Kevin Durant. But we're just going to keep losing. But again, is it Steve Kerr's fault that Clay's hurt? Is it Steve Kerr's fault that Durant's not there? Maybe.
Maybe.
But he's going to war. He chose to go to war with Curry and Draymond. So that's on you, sir.
He can lie in it.
Yeah. Hunter, here's you John Walls and Westbrook comparisons. I know you don't want to hear it. Wall best year was 23 points a game, 10 assists, 4.9 rebounds. Westbrook has 4.9 rebounds in every year but his career but 2. Now, the assist is where Wall does really well against him. Wall is very underrated in the assist department. In NBA history, I think he's maybe even 7th per game. Only 2 players in NBA history have averaged 10 a game, and that's Stockton and Magic. Magic's like almost 12. It's like 11 something. It's ridiculous. Now, Wall, 10.7 was his best. He's averaged 10 assists in 3 different years. Westbrook's averaged 10 assists in 6 different years, but his high is not as his high was 10.7. Oh, they both got the exact same high. So 10.7 is the exact same high. Westbrook's led the league in assists twice, points twice. John Wall's never led the league in anything. But again, Hunter, Westbrook wasn't sent there to be the savior this year at all. You guys need think about if you guys had the big men or 3 players just decided to join y'all like the Nets did. Y'all got Blake Griffin and Andre and who's the center? Just LaMarcus Aldridge.
Yeah, but you know it's not going to happen because it's Washington. Like
I know. That's what's
and I'm not talking
Go
like
Hornets.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like
Ain't nobody
at
coming
this
here.
point, if you root for any of these teams like a Washington and Atlanta, Charlotte, any of the small market teams,
You hate
you're
yourself.
really not. No. I'm just saying you're really a fan of all the small market teams because you look at them and say, "Guess what? I empathize with how
Yeah,
you are right now.
definitely
Literally empathize, literally, because we're in the same spot." We could have both. Washington, I don't know if they are. I'm making this part up, but I know you were. Charlotte was a suitor to get Andre Drummond. Well, so if Washington was too, guess what? We both could have probably shook hands and said, well, guess what? We tried. We tried. Because L.A. came in and said, well, guess what? We'd like to have you with the Lakers, but we're not going to pay you nearly as much as these two said they want to pay you. You're like, well, I'd much rather be in L.A. with the Lakers.
I'll give you some fun insight on some NBA on the records. So let's skip the first three teams, okay? Sixers, Nets, and Bucks, right?
Right.
Hornets and Knicks at 4 and 5 are over 500. That's the only teams over 500. Only 5 teams in the East.
What is the Hornets record?
Hornets are 2 games over 500, and the Knicks are 1 game over 500. They would be playing each other if it started. Hornets are 24 and 22. Now here's some weird stuff. Hornets the only team in the top 7 with a negative point differential.
That means the team that they play that are good blow them the hell out.
Yes. Hornets are the classic NFL team that wins 7 games. That when you play a bad team, you play Detroit, we're going to win. But when we play
you
good
look in your
teams,
division, you're going to get the 2 wins against the bad teams.
Right.
You're going to get the 2 losses, or the 1-1 against one of the better teams.
and if you look at the East in general, besides those top 3,
That's about it.
that's how they're playing.
They just beat up on each other.
Conference. So the Hornets are 13 and 9 in the East. So that means they're 11 and 13 in the West. In the division, they're 7 and 1. You damn right we're hanging a division champ banner. You know what the Knicks are in the division? 5th place in the East. 1 and 6.
They can't beat the Nets.
They're 1 and 6 in their own division.
Let me think. They can't beat the Nets. They can't beat Boston.
Philadelphia's in there
And
too.
they can't beat Philadelphia.
That's a tough division, isn't it?
Shit. At least in the East, yeah.
Miami's probably in that one too, aren't they? Or is that the South or something?
I think-
They're in there with Charlotte.
Mm-hmm. Miami, Atlanta, Charlotte, and Orlando, I think, are all in the same.
Yeah. Let's see. So from Charlotte, from the 4 seed, right, all the way back to the 9, 10, 11 seed, Toronto, every single one of those teams has a point differential of either plus or minus 2. Over, like there's no
nobody
worse
blowing
than
it
2.
up
So they're all in there in the exact same. It's a dogfight for.
for the 4 spot.
Well, there's 2 teams that aren't going to make it.
right.
There's 2 teams that are going to have to play in at 7, 8 right now. Right now it's Boston and Miami, and then the Hornets and Knicks. Basically, you either want to be in 4 and 5 so you can win a series, or you just don't want to be in it at all. Like, why would you want to be?
You want to know what I think's going to happen, Kevin?
Lakers going to get beaten in a 1-game shootout?
No. Well, if they keep falling back,
Would
yeah.
that be hilarious?
Oh, my God. No, what I was going to say is Washington Hornets obviously maybe solidify the 4th or 5th spot, and they're going to say, well, LaMelo can come back for the playoffs.
As long as they keep the same rotation, I'm good. He can do exactly what he's doing right now. Hunter, they're 4 and 1 without him.
I realize.
And you know who they lost to, don't you? The Suns in overtime. 2nd best record in NBA in overtime. And that's without Malik Monk. Monk hadn't even played the last 2 games. Listen, I said it before the draft. I like Devontae Graham.
Mm-hmm.
He needs minutes. He needs time. He's a 2nd-round player in his, 3rd year? Or is his 3rd? Or is this just the 2nd?
I think it's 3rd year.
Like, the kid
Because
needs playing time.
he spent a year in the league below.
So then when Monk gets in, he gets 20-some minutes. He gets 20 points. If he gets 20-some minutes, he's dropping it. So LaMelo, let's say he does what he does. But he's taking minutes away from those 2. So you're stunning those 2, which obviously can put points in the back. So you're in the Stephen A thing, I guess, as far as with Westbrook and his numbers as well. And to me, so Westbrook got 30, 15, and 15, just roughly. And they're like, I don't care about those numbers.
Right.
But that same person will look at LaMelo and say, he got 16, 6, and 6, and he's changing the game of basketball. And he's amazing. But Westbrook with 32, 15, and 15 is a detrimental to the team. So the guy with double his numbers
Right.
is hurting us, but the other guy, oh fuck, we got to sit down and watch this. He might take a fancy pass to Cody Zeller if we don't tune in. It's just a little silly, but Hornets, I don't know what to do with him. If you keep winning like this, what do you do?
I don't know.
Because 4-1 at that rate, if you extrapolate out, that's the best record in the NBA. Ain't nobody else winning at 80%. Obviously, they're not going to do that. But still, if they keep winning at a 70% rate, I know he's going to get to play. But like, at what's his role? And remember when we were talking about like, how does he keep getting these rebounds? So I've been watching some highlights. I was looking at some, and what's funny is, so you type in Anthony. I looked up the numbers about 4 days ago. I looked up dunks. Anthony Edwards has dunked it 30 some times already.
Right.
LaMelo has 7 dunks on the year. So he's not taking it to the rack. He's not, and he's getting rebounds. So I was watching some of the highlights, and as soon as the ball goes up, he's just straight leaving his man. He is not boxing out his guy. And one of the dunks they showed it was like, look at this awesome putback, and they showed it, and his hand was like this far above the rim on the putback. And of course, ESPN, took their shirts off and twisted their nipples while he was doing it.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just silly. But anyway, they I don't know what to do with him or where to put him. Like I said, I'd have traded him. I like what they got at guards, but I don't know what they'd have done at big man. Wiseman probably would have been the best fit team wise.
Golden State
because they're still trying to get a big man.
But Golden State took him. So
it's funny that they didn't pick him.
I'm gonna tell you what.
He's doing good for them.
What's gonna hurt the Hornets is that they are winning right now, because they would have been in a perfect opportunity next year to get probably a top big man that they want. I don't know where they would pick right now if it ended today and they're sitting there at the 4 spot.
Oh, it would be
if you because
like
it is
20th.
it is a lot of exactly. And to me, I don't know if you're gonna get a quality big man at 20. So what do you have to do?
It'd be exactly 20.
You would have to.
You can't get quality anything in the NBA and not in the top 10.
Exactly. Now, sometimes not in the top 4.
That's for immediate help. Like, and that's what's bad about these teams that have to rebuild. Hunter is like, let's say Anthony Edwards is 19 or 20, whatever he is now. He's still not going to be the best basketball player he is for another 3 or 4 years. They're already.
So
I saw a story yesterday that
like
said, let's trade Cat. And I'm like, if I was the Hornets and we had those two and someone said, let's trade one of them, I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with you people?
But if you're the Hornets, you hit the nail on the head when you said he's not going to be the player he is until 3 or 4 years from now. That's where he is. It's going to take him a few years to become and understand what he does best in the NBA and maximize it.
Who?
So I'm talking just Anthony Edwards, anybody.
Oh, okay.
Anybody that is
How about call
drafted.
him Anthony Wiseman?
Anybody that is drafted at age 18 or 19 years old, that's what's going to happen.
Yeah, shit's
So
crazy.
why would you not, I don't care if it's an undrafted free agent, try and get a big man that's been in the college game for at least 2 to 3 years.
If you're Minnesota and have the number 1 pick again,
well,
they got the worst record in the league right now.
Right now they do, yeah. But
It's
think
them,
about it.
Detroit,
But think about
Houston.
it. Don't they still have D'Angelo Russell? And they got
Right.
Karl Anthony Towns. The top 2 picks are supposed to be guards, and you just drafted a guard.
Let's look at their depth chart for the Minnesota Timberwolves. Rubio, Malik Beasley, Anthony Edwards, Jaden McMichaels, and Karl Anthony Towns.
So, did D'Angelo Russell have season-ending surgery or something?
Yeah. He's out. It says he's out. I don't know if he's out for the season, but it just says out.
Well, if that's the case, he probably, I don't know if he was a long-term answer for them when they traded for him from Golden State, but all I know is your top 2 picks coming out next year are guards. So, do you just want to have a great backcourt, or do you trade off Cat, or just have the great backcourt and work around Cat?
Trade off D'Angelo Williams.
Think about it. They've had Cat for what, 5 years now? 4 or 5
You can't
years
trade
now.
it. They got 4 guards and one big man.
Exactly.
Can't get rid of
You
him.
got 4. I know, but I'm just saying he's been there 4 or 5 years now, and it ain't amounting to shit. I don't even think he's made a playoff.
But Hunter, we just said a minute ago, it takes 4 or 5 years to be a good player.
I know, but this is the same thing we talk about all the time. It's going to take him. It's going to take him 4 or 5 years to be a great
Right.
player, and now he's ready to get the hell out.
Right.
And you just drafted a guy trying to help him.
Anthony Cat's got to wait 3 or 4 years for Anthony Edwards to be what he's supposed to be. So that's the conundrum these small market teams are in. Is that once your guy's good, if you missed on 2 straight drafts, that guy's going to be gone when the third.
You
or fourth.
wanna know
Think
what's-
about the Cavs and
Right.
none of their number 1 picks are actually on the same team. They've had all these number 1 picks.
I think it was an interview with an ex-scout too, and he was talking about how draft picks really help build and make up your future for the franchise, and that's still the best acquisition of talent at the NFL level. And when he was talking, he came out and just flat out said it, and he's an NFL scout. He said, this is the difference between NFL and NBA. He said, NBA teams will be fine being shit for 6 to 7 years. He said they don't. He said, think about how Philadelphia just basically committed to the process to where they tanked for 6 to 7 years. He said, sure, they're good now, but that hasn't led to them being in a finals or an NBA
They still
championship.
missed what 2 or 3 picks.
Yeah, they did. They still missed on some of them. And he said that's the difference between them and the NFL. He said NFL teams really they don't want to be bad. You'll have those 2 teams that they just can't get out of it, like the Browns were for years, and how the Jags are now. He
Listen,
said,
if Ryan Fitzpatrick sprains his ankle in the first week, y'all might win 3 games.
exactly. But if he doesn't, we could win 8 to 9. But what he's getting at, and I kind of agree with it and see it in the NBA when you look around the landscape is. Some of these teams just seem like they just don't give a shit, or at least ownership and GM wise, they don't care if they come in last or second to last every other year. They don't give a damn. How long is Minnesota just going to continue to say, "Fuck, we're just going to be bad"? and if you ever grow up in Minnesota, why would you ever be a Timberwolves fan? Because you just know every year, all right, are we finishing second to last or last?
Now the Hornets have. Here's what's bad about them and the Hornets. The Hornets have made some terrible picks. They have made some awful picks too, but they've also landed some stars and haven't been able to develop them. Like we never had a Kevin Garnett. We haven't. I'm sorry, folks. Anthony Edwards is going to be a stud. I love that kid.
You know exactly what these small market teams are.
Yeah.
They're feeder teams to the big markets. Yeah. Kevin Garnett didn't win a championship till what? He was too good and too big for Minnesota, so he went to Boston.
He had to join 3 All-Stars there. Kate, all right, this is the mock draft, and because some comparisons, it's got T-Wolves, Cade Cunningham. It says Luka Light. Does that make sense to you?
Luka Light. I don't think his game is anywhere near Luka Doncic.
It says Jalen Green from the G League, 6'6" guard, Kobe Eddie Jones, Evan Mobley, USC. Do you know him?
That's the kid out of USC that I watched. He's like 7 foot, and
I weigh more than him.
Yeah, he's thin.
190.
He's thin.
I think I weigh more than him. I might be like 195 right now. He's 7 foot 190.
Yeah.
It says more mobile, LaMarcus Aldridge or Chris Bosh.
Now I could see Chris Bosh in his game.
Jalen Suggs Gonzaga, Chauncey Billups, Brandon Roy.
He's gonna be good.
Scott, this is the funniest comparison.
He might be Chauncey.
Listen to these names in the same sentence.
Mm-hmm.
Scottie Barnes, Florida State. They compare him to Draymond and Magic Johnson.
Now, you're going to say and sit there and laugh.
I'm just laughing at those two in the same damn sentence. Like there's a far cry from a top 10 basketball player of all time to Draymond Green. There's not even a is the guy going to average 6 points and 6 assists, or is he going to average 19 and 11 assists?
Listen,
There's a slight difference between those two.
Scottie Barnes, when you watch him play.
I'm not saying Scottie could be one of those. I'm saying to have Draymond and Magic as the same comparison.
No. Now, how big is Scottie? He's like 6'8", 6'9".
Says 6'9", 225.
Yeah, he's a point forward. That's how his game was at Florida State. He plays good defense, big body, and can bring the ball up. He's got an opportunity to be really damn good, but it all depends on just where he goes.
Jonathan Kuminga from the Congo. Have you seen his tape, Hunter?
Who?
Jonathan Kuminga from the Congo.
No, I ain't seen his tape. No one sent his VHS to me yet.
Elite talent who would be top 3 in many drafts. Projects as all-star level NBA player. Compare him to Sean Marion plus, whatever that means.
It's the kid from Texas Tech, the point guard from Texas Tech, and being draft.
Let's see. We'll go on down. Raptors shooting guard, Pelicans Duke power forward Jalen Johnson at 9. Compare him to Tobias Harris. But Hunter, you're right. There's not big men help in this draft other than Mobley. He might have to go 1 overall just because there's nobody else that's above 6.
I mean, that's if teams are smart, like how some NFL teams do and draft for need. Now, if you just drafting the best, I mean, it would be hard for me not to take Cade Cunningham. I still think Jalen Suggs is really underrated for what his game brings.
This is the first person above 6'9" since Mobley is at 18.
Who is it?
So the argument today is the guys are getting bigger, faster, stronger, but there's only one 7-footer picked in the top 20.
When I told you how I did that that argumentative paper, it's a lie. They're actually 1 inch shorter on league average than they were in the 90s.
So yeah, it's almost all guards. 6'9", 6'10", Kai Jones from Texas at 18. Knicks with a guy from Real Madrid at 6'9" at 20. The Spurs with a guy from Turkey at 6'9". Still 6'9", 6'9", 6'9", 6'8". Then the Nuggets, a 7-footer from Jamaica. It says Baby Shaq from Illinois. Kofi Cockburn.
That boy's big.
Is he?
That's
big. 7 foot 290.
Yeah. He's big. Who'd they say draft him?
Nuggets. in 23.
Hey, that's a big boy. If you are the Hornets sitting at 20 or wherever you are, and you need a big man, God, you just look. If you pulled a picture up of him, you would understand why they said Baby Shaq, because he's pretty damn big.
Clippers pick UNC Tar Heel 6'11" power forward freshman Day'Ron Sharp.
Now, I will never understand.
Compares him to Al Jefferson.
I never understand why Day'Ron Sharp decided to leave after his rookie year or his freshman year. He didn't start, first of all, at North Carolina.
Because they said they're going to pay him $2 million for the Nuggets.
Which I understand.
That's why.
Which I understand. Two, I guess an agent got in his ear and said, "This is not a good big man class."
Hunter, do you want to play for free or get paid $2 million?
I get that.
You're 19 years old.
Feel like if he had stayed one more year, because here's the thing too:
is Roy coming back?
Walker Kessler has entered the transfer portal from North Carolina. He was the big 7'1" white kid that they had. Mm-hmm. To me, Day'Ron had an opportunity to insert himself in the starting lineup and to probably boost his draft stock from being a late first-round draft pick. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Now, I don't know if he signed with an agent. Technically, the way the NCAA and NBA have partnered up to do this, they can test the NBA Combine as long as they aren't signed with an agent and can come back to college if they don't like what they hear. But I mean, I just don't understand. That's like when Tony Bradley did that shit.
Who was you asking about Texas Tech?
Texas. What are you talking about? Mac McClung?
Yeah.
Nah, probably not.
It's not in the top.
He ain't that. Listen, he's decent, but a lot of these guys are a lot better than Mac McClung. That's Riff Raff's cousin.
Well, now that you brought up the transfers, I meant to ask this. I was going to ask this earlier. I made note. Well, what do you think? What's going on at Duke and Carolina? You've never seen this before. Are they retiring?
What, with the multiple players transferring out?
Yeah. The last time you saw any multiple transfers, first of all, no one ever transferred out of Dean Smith and Coach K. And
they would transfer in.
Right,
like Roy Williams won with Cam Johnson, who transferred in.
Right. And then Doherty, his players, no, not his players, but Bill Guthridge's players left when Doherty was there. And that's the first players that ever left the program. And it was like, why are they leaving? It was a shock. But have multiple players in these programs all of a sudden saying, I'm not going to Duke and Carolina, and they were down this year as well. All these players leaving, like, what's the reason for them leaving if they don't know something? I think Roy's already, as far as Carolina goes, I think he's retired. Honestly.
After this year?
No. I think it's over. He kissed the court in the ACC tournament before he left, or at home, at North Carolina at home in his last home game. He walked out there and kissed the court.
Well, shit, I wish they'd just go ahead and make that announcement.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, why else would these kids be transferring, Hunter? A 7-footer in that offense has no reason to transfer away from North Carolina.
No, and he has a lot of potential too. And not to mention Garrison Brooks he had guys in front of him graduating. He was going to be the guy.
Yeah, so to me, all signs are pointing that way. I don't know about Duke. I think Kay's a little bit more greedier than Roy is on that standpoint.
Yeah, I don't think he'll retire yet.
No, you want to know why I think Kay won't retire? Because I swear to God, he's probably going to land Bronny.
Well, I was about to say, I tell you what's going to make him retire is I got an answer for that one. What's going to make him retire is if he don't get another good recruiting class this year, and he knows he's not going to be good. He doesn't want to lose again. He's not going to lose. He'll go 20-19 or whatever it is, but he's not going to sit there and have losing seasons in 2 or 3, 4 straight years.
No.
I think the NBA is going to allow Bronny to go pro.
Straight out of high school?
Well, they changed the rule for LeBron. I think he was the last class that got to go out of high school.
And then they said after that.
You couldn't.
Well, technically, Bronny doesn't even have to go to college. If he wanted to go G
No,
League, he could.
Right.
He could go G League or go play overseas. But he's one of those kids, though, that's not strapping for cash. You know what I'm saying? It helps that your dad is a billionaire
obviously
of an athlete. So he's not strapping for cash. I'm just sitting there saying, look, why would it, if it wouldn't be like Ohio State or one of the teams in California, just because that's where they're located right now with LeBron playing with the Lakers, why would LeBron not look at Bronny and say, just go play for Coach K, just for a year? Look what it did for Zion.
For that family,
that dude.
For that family, it wouldn't be a bad idea, like you said, because he has money.
Right.
That's a different situation. He don't have to go overseas to get paid.
But see, that's the only reason why I would have said, if maybe LeBron talked to Coach K and said, look, you don't stick around, my son will come play for you. But other than that, I mean, what more really does Coach K have to accomplish? I mean, they'll never catch Wooden when it comes to championships.
So, looking at, you got any other comments on basketball?
Nah, not on the NBA. We're just still winding down. Got about a month left. The rest of April, and then it's playoff time.
All right. So over in the NFL, we've had some trades, and we got to speculate a little bit. What's going on here? What are we doing?
Well, I don't want to speculate just yet. I want to just make this statement because someone told it to me last night. I was playing on Xbox, and we were talking about the situation, and he made this statement. I thought it was funny. Deshaun Watson was a good quarterback while it lasted. But
what's your definition of good? Watch this. Is Deshaun Watson better than Tony Romo?
No.
his overall career,
At least
no.
you're there. At least you're there.
And
At
his
least I
over-
feel y'all. At least y'all are honest.
In his overall career, no. But, I mean, at least he was a good quarterback
My
while
point
it
is,
lasted.
he got one playoff game.
Right.
And we're talking about him and Matthew Stafford like these are life-changing players when Stafford's never won a playoff game in 11 years.
That's Detroit.
I don't care. Has he even been to a playoff game? Yeah, he's been to 3. He's over 3.
Yeah.
And Deshaun's got 1. And I know it's whatever the cities and towns and
The organization.
But, like, we're so quick to put capes on these guys and then kick out other people.
No.
It's just weird to me. Like,
Now, listen.
what has Deshaun Watson done to make people think he's worth 7 first-round picks?
I like Deshaun Watson. I've never thought he was the greatest thing. My buddy loved Deshaun Watson coming out and told me, he said he's going to win MVPs and Super Bowls. I said, I'll give you MVPs because he'll probably put up a bunch of big numbers. And that's what we like when we vote on our MVPs, having great years. Super Bowls, hell no. He can't save the Texans organization, not at all. Nobody can. But it was nice while it lasted because it seems like every other day, the number of lawsuits just keeps jumping up by not just one, like 2 or 3 at a time. He's at 20, I think 21 or 23 right now.
I just saw
How's he
another
getting so
headline
many
said 18
lawsuits?
women will defend him. What does that mean? They were there?
They were there. Hell, I don't know. But all I know is if this was 1 or 2, I would think, okay,
Right.
maybe it's not as bad as it looks. Maybe it's something that he can get work out. I hate that it happened regardless, whatever. Or maybe they're lying on him. But we're up to 23. It was fun while it lasted. Deshaun Watson sweepstakes is fun while it lasted. Listen, the Carolina Panthers have to know something because they're already in talks about possibly being a team that trades for Jimmy Garoppolo now that San Francisco's moved up to take 1 at 3. or trying to trade for Sam Darnold out of the Jets. How do you go from Deshaun Watson to those two if you don't know something? You can't just wait a year if Houston doesn't want to really move off of them this year, or something.
You talk about just the Panthers?
Yeah, I'm talking just the Panthers. Because think about it. That's what Tepper wanted. They were trying to give all that picks up for Stafford, and then they were the ones that consistently kept coming up that they were making cap room to try and make a substantial run at Deshaun Watson. And then all of a sudden, that's out the window, and you're looking at Jimmy Garoppolo or Sam Darnold. Come on now. Now, you know these circles are so interconnected in the owner-wise that he has to know something to where it's almost like damaged goods now. I can't touch him.
It's got Carolina all over the board on this, picking quarterbacks, linemen. They don't even know. I don't think anybody has a feel. Like I said, if you're San Francisco, like, I don't get what they're doing. If you move up to 3 and give up a bunch of stuff, again, to me, like, you're picking what most people believe is the third best quarterback, if that's what you're doing. But what if they were picking? What if they did this, Hunter? What if they traded up to 3 to pick Kyle Pitts, and they're just blowing smoke right now? Like, I'm trying to think what other player.
Yeah, but why would you give up that much?
That's what I'm saying. What player are you giving up whatever you are to move to 3? What do you want at 3 that you know you're going to get?
Well,
unless it's Justin, it's got to be Justin Fields or Mac Jones. But like,
well, to me, it's Justin Fields.
But if that's the case, you think that guy's that much better than Jimmy Garoppolo that you give up all that stuff? But right now they've kept Garoppolo. So, or are they trying to the Jets? If them and the Jets, are they going to be able to give Sam Darnold off and get one of these first round picks, or is that going to be a second?
I think what the Jets and the 49ers end up doing, drafting Zach Wilson at 2 for the Jets, Justin Fields at 3. Even though I think Justin Fields is better than Zach Wilson, that's neither here nor there. That's just team preference. Mm-hmm. That's which one they want. And what I think they do, I don't think, because the Jets' asking prices, what apparently multiple general managers have come out and said is too high.
Talk about for Darnold or second?
For Darnold. General managers, I think I heard in a report, 3 of them at least said that they would have only given up a 3rd or maybe a conditional 4th, and the Jets are wanting like a 2nd, maybe a 1st.
I can't believe they're going to get quarterbacks in back-to-back first rounds.
Now, with Darnold, and this is what
makes me feel like a Cowboys fan.
This is what I think they're going to do, and I think a lot of people. I've heard a lot of, and I had to think about it after I heard a lot of people spitballing about it. Say they do draft Zach Wilson and Justin Fields and they bring them into camp and they're just not quite ready to start immediately, but at some point during the year, like how Miami did with Tua, they want to insert him. Mm-hmm. And let's just say that Jimmy Garoppolo and Sam Darnold during that time is actually playing good, but you know that you have to hand the baton off at some point. Mm-hmm. When trade deadline comes along, if a team is in dead need of a quarterback and Garoppolo and Sam Darnold have actually played pretty well, then I think they try and unload them and get something for them. I could see that happening because who is to say that Zach Wilson and them are ready to just start immediately?
I don't understand why Washington hadn't just said, do y'all want the 18th pick? Like, who are you? Are you getting anybody better than Sam Darnold at 18, quarterback?
I mean, we might now. I've been reading a lot of reports. Washington, we might be getting a left tackle. So,
well, if I was y'all, I would take Lance if he failed, but I wouldn't pick Mac Jones over Sam Darnold.
No, listen. If I'm going to draft a quarterback in this draft class, I'm waiting until the 3rd round, whenever Kyle Trask comes around. They got him as the 7th best.
I think that's a better option.
It's like
going 18.
You can get him at pick 100 and something. So far, I think they got Kyle. I was watching him throw. They had Kyle Trask ranked as like the 107th, 108th best prospect in the draft. You can get that in the 3rd, hell, even maybe the 4th round.
I got Pitts anywhere from 4th to 14th on this.
4th to 14th. I promise you he doesn't fall outside of the top 8.
No, somebody's going to fall in love and be like, I'm going to do that. In fact, the Panthers, listen.
They need a tight end to replace what they had with Greg Olsen.
Let's play future game real quick. Next year. Which team's going to need a quarterback next year?
Well, there's usually 2 or 3.
Last year, would we have said the Jets are going to be drafting a quarterback next year? No. But just looking at teams, who's going to need quarterbacks next year? Washington.
Yes.
Maybe New England.
Yeah.
No Cowboys. Maybe Giants.
Maybe Houston.
Let's be careful on them.
Maybe Houston.
Cincinnati won't. Cleveland won't. I'm gonna put the maybes as Pittsburgh and Houston. Maybes.
Let's put it down to this too. Maybe the Saints.
Bears will be.
Maybe the Saints if they don't like what they get in Jameis and
I'm
Taysom.
putting them in a maybe for sure though. Washington, New England. I'm saying Giants and Bears. Colts won't be. Jaguars won't be. Titans probably won't be unless Tannehill gets hurt.
Or he just
Tampa won't
sucks.
be unless Brady gets hurt. Seattle won't be. Rams won't be. Cardinals won't be. Chargers won't be. Raiders shouldn't be, but I'm going to put them in a maybe. And Denver should. All right, so right now you're picking, if you're the Panthers in a draft, and you could possibly get one of the fifth best, maybe fourth or fifth best quarterback is it. Right? Next year there's 5 teams that might need a quarterback. You don't know which one of these is going to have a worse record than you. You don't know if you'll have to trade up, but you do know that right now they have the same exact chance to get just as good a quarterback without playing a game next year. So do you draft a stud like Pitts or Jalen Waddle or Devontae Smith at 8 for Teddy to throw to with Christian McCaffrey? He didn't have him last year.
Right, but you also have to look at it that way, though, where you're saying well, there's no guarantee we're going to be picking 8 next year.
Right, because it might work.
Right, we might win.
Which is a good thing.
Which is a good thing, but not if you're still trying to bail off Teddy.
But if you don't want to bail out of him if you're winning.
I don't know. I feel like they're already done with Teddy.
If they
have to ride with him one year, they will.
Just this year alone, they won what, 6 games? Or was it 5? It was
5 and 11.
With McCaffrey a whole year, let's say they do this. McCaffrey this year, they draft Pitts at 8, and then all defenders again. You had a 21st ranked defense, add some more defenders. You had Kyle Pitts on offense with McCaffrey and Teddy. Now all of a sudden you're looking at 7-8 wins, aren't you? Improve your defense add a tight end
if you
weapon.
Improve the defense
and McCaffrey, because you're basically adding McCaffrey to last year's team.
Listen, I think I could add 2 games.
And I'm not that big a fan of him.
I could add 2 games. You could go 7-9. You're still picking right there. Because think about it. Out of all those teams in the division, I could see you splitting or losing both games with Atlanta. I see you losing both games to Tampa Bay. And either splitting or winning both games against the Saints.
Yeah, they're not getting beat. Saints aren't beating them twice. Listen, if you got the same faith in Jameis as Drew Brees had there, write down the Saints right now 8-8.
Well, still,
they just went from Super Bowl contender to 8-8.
You're right, but I'm saying that still would be a better record than what the Panthers would have. If I'm sitting here saying the Panthers could go 7-9 and the Saints go 8-8, and hell, I don't think the Falcons do much worse.
Would they have a better record this year? Drafting Pitts and keeping Teddy, or drafting a quarterback and get rid of Teddy?
No, I'm fine with them drafting Pitts, but I'm serious. I think they make a trade and try to replace Teddy. I seriously think the Carolina Panthers are 100% off of Teddy. Like their front office and coaching staff, they know if they have to, they will cordially be together next year, but they know they're signing the divorce papers.
It was a 3-year deal?
It was a 3-year deal. Next year will be his 2 years.
The second year's supposed to be your tryout year.
So it's like, I could just see them if they have to. Like, that's what I'm saying. Unless they're able to work out some sort of draft day magic, get one of the top 4 quarterbacks, because I'm not really a huge Mac Jones fan. I think he's suitable, but if I'm talking just athleticism ability, the other 4 quarterbacks in front of him have it. Unless I can work out a draft day trade to get up and get one of those 4, like Trey Lance, who would probably be the 4th one still available. Ride it out that year with Teddy, or
now if they pick Lance and keep Teddy, I'll like that.
I would expect them to, because Trey Lance to a lot of people is very talented, like got the skill set, but he's still a project. Like he's still
Honestly, I
he's
think
only
that should be the
played. I think
Panthers.
he's only played 18 college games. That's the big knock on him, because the last guy that got drafted really high didn't have a lot of games under his belt was Trubisky. He had less than 20 games started.
It is an issue, because it's so hard to find experience. You can't get it in minor league.
No, there's no.
There's no experience. And,
No
and
one.
then-
No
and that's
one
what's
just says
bad
I'm
about-
going. No one says I'm going to play Canada.
Right, and when you're on a college team, and you're not getting looked at, or the coach has got you and he invested
Now.
in you, he recruited you instead of another guy. It's just so many
That
variables.
brings up another just like little topic tidbit is, speaking of nobody just goes up to Canada and play. Well, the XFL and the CFL are trying to combine.
Yep, that'd be nice.
So who knows? There might be minor league football, quote, minor league football. Or however you want to call, whatever you want to call that. Amateur. No, it's not amateur because it's still getting paid.
Yes, pro.
Yeah, they be
It's pro football.
Yeah, if you call it semi. There you go. We'll make a movie. Another movie. Semi-pro
Oh,
football.
God.
They can't even draft from the XFL, can they?
Yes.
Yes. The XFL, what they wanted to do, the XFL, if it would have lasted, they wanted to have a draft. And they also said, we're not against drafting high school players. So
So did you see there were going to be 17 games?
I did see that.
I don't like this.
But I don't see, they did not. A lot of the players I know are upset about it. And it's mostly because I don't think they made any changes to how many preseason games they're going to have. I think they're still expected to have 4. It's like, why would you not
No,
give?
I think it's supposed to replace it.
Are they?
Yeah.
Are they going to drop it down to at least maybe 3 or 2?
Yeah, it's 3. That's the deal. Is that basically the way they can do it is they're contracted to be 20 games. So whether they call it exhibition or not, it doesn't really matter. It's a money grab from the NFL, which in a business that doesn't need money.
No, it's one of the biggest businesses in the world.
And for example, in that, when people are like, "Well, you should grab all the money you can," well, the NCAA did that, and the women look at the women's weight room. What happened
Right.
there? That shows you when people were, and that's we run through this in high school and stuff. When the people that are in charge of the money, sometimes things don't get paid for that way. I don't. It's one of those things that's going to mess with the record books way too much, and
Yeah.
it's immediately changed the game. Like a 2,000-yard rushing season,
It's feasible now. Like,
yes,
yeah,
It's-
easily.
It's what about the 50 touchdown mark? That was such a mark. What about Drew Brees and the 5,000 yards mark? You get an extra 400 yards in one game. There's going to be. Let's just look it up next year. NFL stats. Like in the history of the NFL, 12 times has a player thrown for 5,000 yards. And Drew Brees is one of them, and the other 7 are one are just one person apiece. So last year, let's say add 400 yards, Hunter. We'd had 3 5,000 yards passer, one guy 19 yards short, one guy 30 yards short. We could have had 5,000 yards passer just by adding one extra game. And that's one thing they're not thinking about. So all the records are about to change now from now on. Nothing is the same. Nothing means the same. By adding an extra game, you've changed every record and every record in the record books. Like the Dolphins, I think they went 17-0. Now you go 17-0, you ain't won a playoff game.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a regular season game. I'm all for more football. I'm not a fan of the preseason, but the fact of the matter is, Hunter, what they did was all they did was leverage the players and say, look, you got to be here for this when you want to get paid and make it real. We're not taking a game away. Fuck y'all. That was the answer on that one. You forget that. Think about how much money they have to make where they won't cut a preseason game. And now they decided to change all the record books over adding a couple million extra.
I'm
year.
fine with it, though.
If you added 2 games, then you're obliterating. You'd be like, all right, but adding 1.
I'm fine with it, though, because I didn't quite look at it as you're just breaking the record books. To me, it's, like you said, to me, it's still real meaningful football, not a meaningless preseason game. To me, that's what's a money grab.
I'd rather cut
is
the
the
preseason game.
preseason games. If you wanted to get rid of all preseason games and just do little spring games that you have your little joint practices, I'm fine with that.
It would have added 5 more people on average at 60 yards a game to to the 1,000-yard club in rushing. Like those are specific clubs. Those are like Emmitt Smith had 9 straight 1,000-yard seasons.
Yeah.
And now if you get an extra 100 yards basically added to it, Emmitt Smith missed his 11 years.
So when we do this when it's all said and done, are we going to have to say pre-2021?
Yes, you have to. Think about Emmitt. If you sit there and say, because the 2 years he missed at Hunter in his 11 years was his rookie year and his last year, but he still had 940 yards, 930
He
yards.
had that extra year.
If he had one more game, he's got 11 straight 1,000-yard seasons. Right. And I know Emmitt don't need any extra records, but damn, even the smallest change to the schedule. Because see, we argue about this with baseball and basketball, but those records don't mean anything.
No.
To me, so the all-time. So you say Karl Malone's second in scoring, but he's like 12th in per game. So that's what I look. I like, okay, well, he's 12th in per game. Nobody in their right mind's taking Malone over Wilt Chamberlain or Kareem or Jordan or anybody because he's got more points. Like Jordan beat him twice.
Listen,
he's got more
I've always
points.
said this about some baseball and football or baseball and basketball stats. The ones that are for your total career, essentially, that's a longevity game.
They've ruined a lot of those.
If you're gonna play 20+ years, guess what? I would expect you to have more your numbers to start get inflated to a certain point.
You have to play 20 years to catch those numbers. In baseball, we've looked at it. What is it? 20 to 22 years is the magic numbers for breaking all the all-time records, and you just can't get to it. Think about it. For 20 years, Hunter. If you average 30 home runs for 20 years, you're in 15th place all time.
But you got to do that for 30 years, for that long.
All-time home run. Like the longevity of it is so stupid to think about it. So Mike Trout has never hit 50 home runs. Let's see what his average is per season. I forgot. Let's see. Mike Flounder. That's what they need to change him because that's what they do in the playoffs. They just flounder away. He averages in 162 games basically 39, 40 home runs. So if you did 40 home runs a year times 20 years is how you would do it, just beat Bonds. It'd be 19 years. Take you 19 years of 40 home runs. He's played 9. And that's just... He hasn't played 162 games every year. That's the 162 game average, not the yearly average. So 10 years, this will be easier to do. 10 years he's played, he's got 302 home runs. Now it's 30. I just dropped 10 home runs a year. So Trout in 10 years has averaged 30. So Hunter, if he keeps on going, where does 600 get him after 20 years? 10th. Like 20 years of 30 home runs.
You're just 10th.
10th. 20 years of 35 home runs put you in 4th.
I'm just looking forward to more football.
Which is what A-Rod got.
That's just how I look at it. I'm just looking forward to more football.
I know.
And I know guys are so upset about it.
I'm not going to hate watching it.
No.
I hate that it's going to ruin the record books. I really do. Because, again, baseball that used to be, we could always talk 400 hitters, 40, 50 home runs. We can always talk those marks. And then the steroid era and the war era ruined any of that talk whatsoever. Because you can't have a conversation with anybody. It just depends on what they value more. So it's that when they do that, it changes the games, and it's just funny though that all the other sports we want less games, and football we want more.
Yeah, but if you look at it from outside looking in, 17 compared to 82.
You know what? I'd be more happier if they did
62.
If they played 30 games and played 2 a week.
Yeah,
I would much more happier than I'd love to see. I hate waiting 7 days or 10 days sometimes between games.
Yeah.
Like, hey, the Redskins ain't played 10 games. I got to watch the Colts and Titans today. Like, who gives a rat's ass?
They should make college football be different in playoffs.
Well, they do play 2 times a week. A lot of times Sundays and Thursdays.
Yeah.
They do it a lot. I know every week would be different, but you could designate it somehow. You could do designated Sundays and Wednesdays and Thursdays, and then you rotate every week, which kind of Wednesday or Thursday, whatever you do.
Yeah.
That's just ideas, but if you're going to add games and change the record books, Chase is open to a reunion with Joe Burrow. There's your who cares type of thing, obviously. Like, what's he supposed to say? Hell no.
I know. Don't draft me at 5.
Would you like to be picked 5th and play with your old quarterback? Fuck y'all.
No.
There's Bruce Arians' Super Bowl tattoo. I'm just trying to scroll down and make sure there's anything else or new we need to touch on before we get out of here.
I'm looking up. Nothing's popped
We'll
up.
talk Saturday about the NASCAR dirt race that Terry and the old man didn't like. Ruined their days. Poor fellers. Let's see if I got any. Let me look at my funny tweets of the day / random tweets. I got to show you that one off air. Yetis last night, Hunter, were down 15-2 in the bottom of the 8th inning. Scored 3 runs.
Great effort. Valiant effort.
Down 15-2, bottom of the 8th. Let's get 3 runs here and play longer. When that happened, when that guy got that base hit to knock in that 5th run, I texted Andre. I said, It just cost us 30 minutes, that swing. And I turned my stopwatch on. 24 minutes. Because that one guy got a base hit.
Yeah.
We were an hour away, an extra 24 minutes from home. I just knew it was about to happen. That was a funny one. I'll have to show you off air. It's not that it's too bad. It's just a dumb, tasteless joke, I guess. I don't read that one. Some of these, off air. There's a new trend for men, Tanner, I saw on the internet. Super freeing men's skirts emerge in the pandemic. Is that you? Is that you?
No, that's you.
No skirt for you, huh? All right. No skirt for you. That's your,
No, Hunter's
Seems
the one
like
that's
Hunter,
gonna be
I had-
wearing a skirt.
There was one other news that I had I've been wanting to talk to you about, and I know I'm not going to see you for to see Saturday, but they're so stupid. They're so stupid. I'm going to show y'all this. This is what really happened at the Suez Canal. The wiener dogs dug it out. Hunter, is that a bad day? You get a boat stuck in the fucking Suez
No, it's a bad day for the guy that realizes he's on the clock to dig that son of a gun out.
Oh, God, that's so funny. DeMarcus Cousins talking to the Clippers.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
He's about worthless now.
I mean,
Such a big dude. And injuries, man. The guy the other day tweeted Kevin Durant will never make another. He's not an All-Star anymore.
why? Injuries.
Marshall. Okay. Anything else, Hunter?
That's it.
I swear I got more stuff to do, but I'm trying to think. Don't play my music yet. No, go ahead. That's fine. Fuck. I'm just trying to think. Thanks, everybody, tuning in. KTC Broadcasting, Shock Joxx. We'll be back Saturday morning, 8 a.m. We'll be talking NASCAR and racing, some more Yetis baseball, breaking down the NCAA tournament, and more. Thanks for tuning in. Shock Joxx, Saturday Sports Talk, KTCBroadcasting.com.